If you upload this automation, you'll never have to write another email again. Specifically, this automation is ridiculous. What it will do is the second you get any email in your inbox, it goes to this really cool automation here where it looks at it's got a knowledge base, okay, that has every email you've ever had in your inbox, okay, and it knows exactly how to speak just like you in your tone of voice. It will create a draft email response to that individual. So basically, once a day, you can log into emails, see if you like it or not, and then respond. This system's really interesting. It's got 3 parts to it where we essentially teach it. So every time you get a brand new email, it gets uploaded to this incredible database. So it's learning dynamically as it goes. This section here is how we embed it to make sure everything works okay. And then scenario 3 is going to one that runs automatically for you in the background where we get your email down here. And at the end, it creates a draft. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how you build this 3-part automation system to save you potentially dozens of hours of time and actually just get emails in your tone of voice. Before I show you that, I want to call out why this is really cool, because it knows everything. If you've got hundreds of thousands of emails in your inbox and you want to train it on that, it will actually know and have access to everything because we vectorize the emails, which means it'll have context for conversations that you've had like even 5 years ago, and it can do that and produce results dynamically. Autopilot knowledge update. Why is that so sick? Well, because the second that you get a new email in this system, it gets uploaded to as a vector to Pinecone, which means that we can actually physically have it dynamically updated. So you get an email 30 minutes ago, it's updated straight away. Thirdly, there's really no limit to how many emails we can use with this, which means that we're using a system called Retreival Augmented Generation. So if you're not familiar with RAG, I encourage you to watch my last video on that. I explain it all in really good detail in the first automation. Importantly, it sounds like we're going to use this really cool email tone of voice meta prompt to basically give it some of your emails and create a stylized guideline, essentially, of how you sound so that when it is responding, it sounds just like you. And then finally, it's going to save you a ton of time, all right? Like, I'm going to be using this constantly in my emails because it's a hassle responded to. So if you haven't already, grab that coffee and let's dive straight in. My name's Jack. My school community and my YouTube channel are about 3 things. We are about the latest AI. We are about incredible automations. And of course, we are about the stuff that actually works. The moment in the school community, you can get access to all of the blueprints on my channel, as well as the ones that aren't even on YouTube. So all you ever have to do is come down here, click more, click import blueprint, you choose a JSON file. Once you've selected it, you click save, and all the automations will populate for you automatically, saving you a lot of time. And guess what, guys? It's just a lot easier to do it that way. So how does it all work? Well, it's available for free down below, so you can check out for 7 days, see what the community's like, see if you like it or not. You can do automations here. You can download it really easily. Say you want this one, for instance, you select the one that you want, you come down here, you download it, you upload it to Make, and you're ready to go. So it's risk free. Try it for 7 days, see if you like it. We'd love to see you in there. I've got a feeling that you really enjoy it and have a good time in the community and all the stuff we have there. So the way we're going to do this video, we're going to build this all the way through step by step. And then I'm going to show you exactly the tools that you need as you go. It's actually quite simple, quite straightforward. Once you know some of the specifics that I'm going to run you through. So first of all, let's create our first scenario. Now, what is the purpose of the first scenario? Well, the purpose of the first scenario, I'm going to show you here just to give you a good visual. I thought it'd be helpful to see. Okay, is basically to learn. In other words, this is going to be the scenario that the second you get an email here, okay, it's going to cleanse it with Claude. So we're going to strip out all the basically unnecessary information like H1 tags, H2 tags, loads of stuff that we don't really need. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a document with that information on it. And basically that document will then go into another process in scenario 2 where we store it in this vector database, which our AI can then access and grab what it physically wants. This part of the process exists so that every email you get, we basically store that and it dynamically upgrades the knowledge base that we have. Okay, so it's about learning and it's about cleansing the data we've got, and then we're going to embed and store it in the second scenario. So what does that look like in reality? Well, first of all, because we're not savages, we name it. So we'll call this one email and cleanse. We don't need email twice. We'll get rid of that one. Cool. So what are we going to add? Well, I'm going to add a Gmail since that's the one that I use. So let's come down here. I'm going to click on watch emails like so. Simple filter is absolutely fine. You'll need to validate your connection. Gmail is very touchy about that for some reason, so I'll do that briefly now. Incredible. Now that's all validated. We come back. We want to go for, you can go for all emails, only read emails, only unread emails. That'll basically be based on, how you want to essentially do it. For this one, I'm just going to say only unread emails. Mark emails as raw when they're fetched. That's your personal preference. I'm going to say no. Maximum number of results. I'm going to set this at 10. So we can, depends on how quickly you want to update the email address. So if you're using it very, very regularly, you may go for half a day, twice a day. I'm going to put once a day, really. And for that reason, I'm going to assume I may get as much as 50 emails in a day, which is pretty cool. Then I'm going to click OK. Now, we can set this from now on, emails after a specific day or all emails. I'm going to say from now on, but look, once you've created this entire automation, I want you to redo this step and I want you to do all emails. The reason we'll do that is because it will then upload every email you've got on your inbox to our cool system, which will form part of its training data. And then when you go forward from that, you're just going to select all subsequent emails. But you're ready to go. And then you're going to be rocking and rolling for a good time. Awesome. Now we pick the folder. Folder here is going to be the inbox. Sometimes you have to come off and come back in to make sure this works properly. And then we'll go for inbox. Beautiful. Then we click OK. Now the next step we want to do here, guys, for Retreival augmented generation as part of the upload process is to cleanse it. So for that, we're going to use a prompt. We're going to use the beautiful Claude, which is called cleanse with a big scrubbing brush, which is what we like. So say what this prompt is. Okay. You are an AI assistant tasked with cleaning up raw email data. All these prompts, by the way, are down below in the community. Please process the following email and provide a clean version by performing the following actions. Okay, let's see what we got. If it would even let me scroll down, which doesn't want to sometimes. All right, we want to eliminate signatures and disclaimers. You know about like long text at the bottom. We want to get rid of that. Strip out the HTML tags, exclude irrelevant links, preserve the main content. You must include who it's from with a date and when it was sent. This is critically important. Do not add any additional text. Just provide the output as specified. Your output must be in HTML. And then we just give it the output from Gmail. So let's copy this. We come to our scenario. We're going to create a new Claude module right here. Let's go. Create a prompt. Guys, I absolutely love this one. I'm going to be super honest with you. Okay, max token is going to be 4,000. Come down to message. Role is going to be user. Content is going to be type. It's going to be text. We scroll down and then we enter our prompt that we like. And then raw email content, we just get rid of this and we're just going to find, we've got all the data that we need right here. So I'll bring this over so you can see a good idea of it. And all we're looking for, guys, is text content right there. You see? Boom, perfect. So that's going to give it a text. And then after that, it can do whatever it wants to. Then we're going to click OK. The next thing I want you to do is add a increment function. What this will basically do is every time it runs, it spits out a number, then 1, then 2, then 3. And you know the rest of the alphabet. Cool. And then we're going to go and add a Google document. Let's have a look. Create a document. Really cool. The name is just going to be email, and then we're just going to add the increment function. So email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4, etc., etc. Then the content is going to be the text response. And then what you need to do is go over to drive.google.com and just simply create a drive that you can use to store this information. And then we're going to use that in the next scenario to bring it back down. So here, pick the document location that you like. So pick a folder that you've created. I've got one here called Email Magic, which is ACE. And all you're going to do, guys, is select OK. And that is the entire scenario. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this scenario once, and then we should see in that folder the email that we had created there. All right, guys, so what we're going to do, we're going to run the scenario once. I've got this fictitious email here from somebody who wants to sponsor a AI YouTube channel. So let's send this one now. We come back over. There was nothing then, we ran it. So let's run this one more time, and we should see the email come through. So let's see if we've got it. Gmail's grabbed it. Amazing. Let's check out the sender. The sender was me, of course. And it's got no attachments on, which is really cool. Recipient, we've got all this really cool information. And we can even check the text content, which is here. Hey, it's Jack Mayer from Neurotech, blah, blah, blah. Anthropics created a prompt. It simplified it, made it great. Added an incremental function, and it's been uploaded to our Google Doc, which is awesome. So if I go over now to Email Magic, we can see we have email 1. I open email 1, for instance, and then we've got it. From Maya Thompson, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Jack, it's Maya, blah, blah, blah. All the information automatically. So what the hell does that mean? That means, guys, every time an email comes in now automatically, you can run this hourly, fortnightly, daily, whatever you want. It's going to add it to this document and it's going to be closed, which is pretty cool. So now we've got part 1 done. And if I come back just to show you an overview, what happens now? Part 1 is complete. We have that uploaded. It's excellent. The next stage in scenario 2 is basically to vectorize that information. Look, check this out. It's going to come in. This is going to watch for when changes happen to that Google Drive. We're going to download the file, get the text. We're going to create an embedding. If you haven't watched my last video, I encourage you to watch that, explain what embeddings are. Basically, think of a massive mystical bookshelf with 1 million books in it. An embedding is like a number that we give to the information of the document to identify what it is. And then when we ask a question, we also create an embedding. We turn that question into numbers, and it finds out which numbers, think of the numbers as keys, are most similar. And then instead of, like an assistant would do, go through a million boxes to find the answer, we only pull the ones that we actually want. And all we do then, guys, is basically upload this to Pinecone, which is where we store all this information in that vector database. Sounds a little bit complicated. It's actually really straightforward. So let's start by creating the next scenario then. Cool. So we need number 2. Number 2 is going to be vectorization, which sounds really cool. That could be like, I don't know, like the next big blockbuster hit that we're not ready for. All right, cool. Beautiful. All right, let's start over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to be G Drive, which is cool. Let's show more, for example. I'm going to go for watch files in folder, like so. And then all we do here is just simply select the one that we want. But of course, not before validating our connection. We're going to say, hey, I want you to do that from now on in this case. Awesome. And the next thing we want to do, guys, is just to simply download from a folder. So let's download a file. Let's come down here, wait for that to load a second, enter a file manually or select from a list. We're going to go manually. You can click on File ID and then just enter the file ID from Google Drive, just like that. Then I want to get the text into the scenario. And to do that, I'm going to use something called Dumpling AI. If you haven't got an account with them, it's super easy to set up, and they give you like lots of credits for free for you to get trial. And after that, it's not very expensive at all. So go to Dumpling AI, and all we're going to go for here, guys, is convert a document to text. Oops, I think that's PDF actually. Let me just make sure I get the correct one in here. Let's go to Dumpling AI. Convert. I believe it is this one actually. Now, we had it right the first time. We should have backed our instincts, right? We should have backed our instincts. So go to file method, gonna go for base 64. And then what you're gonna do, guys, is enter this code here, which is base 64. If you don't have base 64, by the way, you can actually find it over here on one of these sections, which is that, base 64. You just click on that, okay? Cool. So let's enter this one in. Base 64, and in between the brackets is where you want to put the data. And how do we find the data? It's just quite simply the top bit here, okay? Look at this, base 64 data. And in pages, you can get really specific about, don't want to add, like which pages do I want to add, blah, 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 if you want to get really romantic and complicated about it. Then I'm going to click, okay. Now I'm going to save the scenario. I'm going to run this one once. I'm going to duplicate. Okay, so this one hasn't worked. Let's just check out why that's happened real quick. We didn't select the folder. Oh my goodness. That sounds like a pretty interesting one that we should do, doesn't it? Let's come down and let's go for email magic. Let's just set the limit at 10 for argument's sake. Click OK. And then we'll run this one again. Beautiful, nothing's happened. So let me go through the first part of the process and trigger a new document in the folder. And guys, for this one, what I'm going to do is respond to that email to Maya about YouTube sponsorship so we can start to build a bit of a conversation in the database. So I come down here and I click send. I'm going to come down here, I'm going to hit run the scenario once. And guys, crucially, one of the things I want you to do with mail is instead of saying just watching incoming mail for in red, I want you to watch all mail. The reason we need to do that is because that will then actually track our responses as well at the same time. And I'll show you that just very briefly. Check this out. So instead of then the criteria, not only unread mails, select all emails. So when you make a response, that will also be added to our database. And then we come over now, we've got email 2. I've got, hey, Maya, thanks for watching out. I'm excited about blah, blah, blah. And I tell, hey, we're going to charge you like $3,000 for 60 to 90 things. Now, the AI will know this is from us. So when it's responding to future emails, it'll know, hey, Jack has responded in this way before. Therefore, it can grab that relevant data when it creates our responses. So we come back over to the second scenario, for instance. We run this scenario once. Google Drive has picked up. Has it picked up the right one? Let's have a look. Bada bing, bada boom. Web view link. This is really cool. Come down. Dumpling has turned it into text. So let's just check that out real quick to make sure we've got the right data. Come down to text. Hi, Maya. Thank you for reaching out. Blah, blah, blah. This is pretty flipping awesome. So the next thing we want to do, guys, is to set multiple variables. The reason we're doing that is we've got this output now from Dumpling, but to vectorize it, we just need to make sure it kind of fits with all the stuff that is expected. And sometimes random characters and emojis and loads of crazy stuff can mean that it doesn't go there. So we're going to have to set multiple variables, add item. This is going to be we'll just call this one text. And the variable value, guys, just type in everything down below. And if you don't have this code, I'll put it in the description so you can just grab that. And you're just going to enter the text from Dumpling AI, which is pretty flipping cool. Now, what's the next thing that we need to do? Well, we want to create an embeddings, right? So we come here, we're going to go to OpenAI, and we're going to go for the really cheeky API call, like so. Let's give this a second. Beautiful. Now, the URL is going to be /v1/embeddings. The method is going to be post. The content type, application JSON, that's absolutely fine. And then you're going to come down here, you see you've got query string and then you've got body. Ignore the query string, guys. I just want you to put something in body, which is going to be this, which is import JSON string. And that, but in our case, it's just going to be the text from the multiple tools variables, okay? And then I'm going to click okay. Beautiful. And you can see we've got this JSON string down here at the bottom, guys. And if we have weird little, double brackets, and then it can just cause us lots of problems in creating that embedding. Awesome. So we click this and then we come over here. But of course, we need to rename this one. So let's call this one embeddings. Now, if you haven't created a Pinecone account, now is the time where we do the beautiful, wonderful Pinecone. Now, Pinecone obviously is a vector database. There's loads of options. This is a great one to get started. So let's head over to Pinecone. You'll see a page like this, guys. You just log in, or if you haven't yet, sign up, and then you come to your home page right here. Now, what do? You're going to come over and create an index. Give it any name you want to. Be creative. Call it white shirt or whatever you want. You're going to set up by model. The model I want you to choose here is going to be text embedding 3 small. We don't really need the large one for this purpose unless you're going gigantic. We're going to be fine with 3 small. Set configuration. Serverless is fine. AWS is fine. Virginia, US East is also fine. And then we just click on create index. And it is as simple as that. If it would load for us, will it load for us? I think it does, doesn't it? Give that a beautiful moment to pop up for us. Now, a couple of things to bear in mind. Now we need to create a new connection in our scenario, okay? So we come over, we're gonna look for Pinecone like here. I'm gonna go for upsert a vector. There is other stuff what we can do, like for example, double checking emails haven't been added before if you want to, and just make sure every email has unique hash, which is a really cool thing. To keep this one simple for our purposes, we're just gonna upload it because it's only triggered by new and fresh emails on new dates, and the context of knowing if the same emails come in twice can be pretty handy, and in which case it would be uploaded anyway. So we're going to add a new connection, and I'm going to do that because it's a little fruity, this, to be honest, guys. Index name. Check this out. Okay, not that one. Let me come back over to the beautiful Pinecone. Guys, you copy this, okay? You come back over to this one, you enter it in, and you do 2 things. You get rid of https:// gone. See you later, pal. We come over and then get rid of .pinecone.io. Vamos, it's done. Then we need to get the API key. So head back over then to Pinecone, and you'll see on the left-hand side API keys. And here you'll see the value. You might have guessed it. We just copy that value. We come back over, and then you enter it into the API section. Give it a second to load once you've entered the API key, and there we go. It's all complete. Now, for the vector ID, I kind of give it the file ID from Google Drive. And then we're going to come down to add values, and we're going to add in this one from embeddings, which we won't have yet. So let me just change that code, and you'll be able to see it coming down. If I look over, this is number 6. So the reason why you won't see this one yet, guys, is just because you haven't run it. But if you want to, can you see here it says 6 body data, blah, 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 embedding? You just copy that. You're going to come down, and I'm going to paste it there like so. And once that one runs, you'll see it there just by entering in that code and changing it. Awesome. And if not, you can undo this one, run it, grab it, and then just enter in that manually. So in metadata, we're going to add this. We're going to add, hey, content. Type is going to be string. And then the value is basically going to be, okay, the text from Dumpling AI. And then we can come down here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put title. We're going to go string. And this is going to be what we title it as. And we'll call that one the name of it. So email 1, email 2, email 3. So we can actually kind of like map that to the emails that we got as well when we're checking it. And once we've done that, guys, we're going to click okay, cool. So come down, save it, and you're almost done. You just got one final bit to do now. So let's come back up. Let's auto align these things together. Let's run this module, see if anything pops up. Nothing popped up. So I'm going to run the whole system again, get any folder in there, and then we can see it upserted into Pinecone. So I've just duplicated the files and the folders so we can run this one more time. The other thing to bear in mind, guys, with Pinecone is make sure that you click the map next to the values with this to make sure that it works properly. Just want to make sure I remember to mention that. So run this one once. Google Drive will pick up on the new folder. We've downloaded it. We've got the text now. Tools have set, embeddings have set, and it's been uploaded to Pinecone successfully. What does that mean? Well, it means that if we go check out Pinecone now, we should actually see these emails. So let's go over to our database. We've got the white shirt is what we called it, because I'm white shirting up right now. We scroll down, and guys, would you believe it? We've got copy of email 1, copy of email 2. This one is from Jack Roberts, my response, and this one is from Maya asking what it is, and we can check out the whole value set. And then we've got all these beautiful values down here, which is a kind of the vectors. Awesome, incredible. Now, guys, what you've just created, okay, is pretty flipping amazing. Any email comes in, automatically it gets sent to this Google Doc. Then we download it, and then we add it to we actually add it to Pinecone, which means that now you've created an automatic an automatically growing knowledge base that will just go infinitely for any email that you send or that you get back in. It will just keep on growing, so its context becomes like infinite and relevant. Then we go on to the third part of this automation, and the third part of this automation really is what you might ask. Well, the final bit where we actually then get a response from somebody, or we get an email, we want to create a draft response. So all we ever do is we come into our inbox and we just click send or edit or whatever we fancy doing. Okay, so for scenario 3, we're going to call this one email brain, because let's be honest, guys, that's exactly what it is. And that's the kind of funny direction of the automation, especially these kind of exotic ones that I'm doing with you here, is companies charge thousands for this. And the fact that it trains and will give you a response of what it thinks the answer is insanely valuable. This could be, I think, the most epic one that I've done so far on the channel. Until the next one, of course. So come down, Gmail. We're going to watch emails here. The difference here, though, is I'm only interested, number one, on read emails. So you have to kind of not mess with the emails if you can. And maximum results, this is going to be, we'll just put this one at 50, depends how often we check it. It doesn't really matter. I need to verify my connection for the 17th time today, which is pretty decent. Cool, so we're going to select from now on to make sure we've got it. We click on this one again just to add the folder in. Dun, dun, dun. We come down here and this one is going to be inbox, which is pretty sweet because obviously that's where we're going to get our emails. Ace. Obviously, guys, one of the things you could do if you wanted to is you could set unique rules up in your inbox. Like if it has keyword X, move into folder and trigger here. The other key thing I want to call out here is that what we can do is add a router into this part here. And we can say, hey, for example, if you want only information that, let's just say you may get some no replies, right? Let's say, for example, what we could do is add a filter here, right? And we say no reply. And what we could say is if, let's say, who's it from? Where's from here? From the sender. Okay, email address there. It's a no reply. If that contains case insensitive, no reply, go down that route here. And then we do the same thing, which is if it doesn't contain no reply, go up there. And we add another filter here, which means that any emails that contain no reply will not get added to our database. And you can add out specific filters like that if you think it's not going to be relevant, or if there's certain emails you just don't want it to go in that. We can add these filters at this stage to make sure it doesn't happen. That's probably going to be the easiest way for you to create that dynamic logic. So let me auto-align that and come back. Brilliant. I think that's cool. Then we're going to click beautiful. Okay. And we'll do that from now on. That's absolutely fine. Now, next thing we need to do is going to do what I call Captain Search. Who is Captain Search, you say? Well, Captain Search is this guy. And he has a very unique job. All right. So we're going to come down here. Let's check him out, for example. All right. So you are an AI assistant tasked with generating an effective search term based on the content of a newly received email. You'll be provided with both the email subject line and body text. Your goal is to create a concise and specific search term that accurately reflects the topics discussed in the email. Now, I should basically zoom out here and explain what's going on. So when we search this database, which for argument's sake we'll say has hundreds and thousands of emails, we want to kind of identify what is the core essence of what that email is about. So for example, if it's about a sponsorship inquiry, it might only be like 9 words, which is sponsorship, technology, Jack Roberts, their company, this company, because basically we're going to use that as a vector to search everything. So we don't want to search, it's like, how do we get a really crisp, dynamic search term, which we can then vectorize and then find the right things. So it's about making the process as efficient as humanly possible. That's why we have this prompt, and that's why Captain Search is here to help us to make life a lot easier. So we've got instructions, we analyze the email content, we generate a search term, we format the response, we basically say this is how we want it to be, and we give an example like, hey, the search term is Sponsorship Opportunity Tech Innovators Conference 2025 AI Automations Jack Sponsorship Benefits Exposure Networking. That was just an example I did before. And then we give it dynamic content, which is the email subject and the text content. Okay, so let's go over and let's go and check out exactly what that is. So we come down here and click OK. So we come over here, we click on ChatGPT. Oh my goodness, this is the one. We want create completion, which is pretty sweet. Let's come up. Yeah, Sam Altman said there's going to be updates coming up, which I think is pretty sweet this year. I'm very looking forward to that. So we'll go for O1 Mini. That's absolutely fine. Awesome. So we come down here. We've got the text content. We've got the email subject line, the text content. Basically, as you can see, it's all on the right-hand side. We found that perfectly. Come down, JSON object critical, parse JSON 100%, and we'll put 0 down here. And then we're going to come down and click OK. Beautiful. So what do we need to do after that? Well, The next thing to do is make an embeddings, which is exactly the same process as you did in the last one. So we come down here, we're going to grab this guy, we're going to come over, we're just going to paste him. Beautiful. The thing isn't it just great where you can just copy and paste and run like that? We're going to click him, except for the difference this time is going to be this. Where we come down and input is going to be the result from Captain Search. Phenomenal. Then we come over and guys, we want to add in pinecone like so. Query a vector. Vector, click on map and then quite simply enter in this here, which is body data embedding. Again, I'll put it in the tab so you can have a quick look at it. Whoops. And this one is number 3. So we just change that to 3. Sweet. Copy that, come down, and then we just paste it right there, which is pretty flipping cool. So I'll say no need for values. Yes, let's do metadata. And then the limit, guys, is based on how big it is. So this is how many emails should I pull to get my data set. If you've got only a couple hundred, you may want to limit it to lower. If you've got lots and you think lots of content will be helpful, get more. I'm just going to put, for example, 3 down here for the sake of it. Then we click OK. Then we want to create an array aggregator to get all the information from this so we can get one simple text output for our GPT email brain to create something interesting. So let's add in an array aggregator like so. Cool. And what do we want? We want the vector ID, and I think we also want the values. Actually, it's the metadata, isn't it? Yeah, the vector ID and the metadata. The source module is simply the pinecone there, which is pretty sweet. Then when I come down, I'm going to click OK, which is pretty sweet. Then guys, we want to add in an iterator like so to combine all that together. Beautiful. And then we want to add in an array. So check this out. It's going to have an array, vector ID, and metadata. So look, we're going to have email 1. So let's come over here and just say email 1. Come down and we'll just keep on putting a few of these in. Again, if you've only done a few, you don't need to do all of these. I'm just doing this for the sake of it. In fact, do you know what I think might be useful? Is probably getting more than 3, to be fair. That might be more beneficial, especially with the emails if we want context, right? It just depends really how many you've got. So I'm going to update this to 6 for the argument's sake. But obviously you can experiment with it. I think if you've got a big data set, I think 10 could be pretty healthy actually. And we come down and then we can go for, obviously the more that you have, the better. So we'll do 6. In fact, we'll do 7. Beautiful. Emails, 7. Phenomenal. All done. Perfect. We click OK. Phenomenal. Now what do? We're going to come over and just update pinecone down here to say, look, I want you to bring back 7. Really sweet. Then we're going to click OK and we're going to save the scenario. That's okay. Don't worry about that just yet. What that means, guys, is pinecone is going to split out loads of options. These 2 modules here, just condense it, bring it into one, so we have one output for our incredible GPT brain. Now, let's see what else goes to that. Now we've got the email brain. Now, the email brain prompt is something that takes a little bit of time to finesse, but it's really cool. So check this out. I'm going to come over. Beautiful. And let's see exactly what we've got. So you're a highly efficient AI email assistant designed to create professional and contextually relevant HTML formatted email responses in a tone of voice and style specified of the sender. You have access for up to 10 relevant emails that provide context and additional information about the subject matter. Some of these emails may be from the sender and some of them may be sources related to the topic. We give it specifics on its task, its task using contextual emails. Then we give it all these things. So the email for you to respond to, who sent it, the name of the person that sent it, the date they sent it, what they sent in terms of the subject line, and then crucially, the text content. So the AI system knows everything about who, what, when, where, and how. Then relevant emails for context is simply the output from the iterator. So this is everything that's coming now. Here's all your relevant context underneath that. And then we've got tone of voice style. Now guys, for the tone of voice, what I'd recommend you do is use this system I've got here, this meta prompt. What I would like you to do before you do this pop the stage is basically just get like 10, 20 of your emails. Now, when we talk about tone of voice, what's really important to understand is that it's domain specific. The way that I talk on YouTube versus, for example, in my school community could be slightly different versus the way that I write emails. So we want to replicate your style in the domain that it's at. So just go through, get emails that you've sent that really can capture your style. The more the better, quite frankly. And I want you to give this prompt. We'll look at initial response structure. We look at visual structure pattern analysis. We look at formality markers, content flow, closing analysis, technical elements, special instructions, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to look at things about formats, how your response differs based on the context. So the more context we can give it, the better it will be. Now, once you've done that and you've given it this prompt to either like a Claude or ChatGPT, Claude might be better for you actually. What I would love you to do after you've done that is come back over, and all you're simply going to do, guys, is here on this section where it says tone of voice, just enter it in there. And that will mean that every response that comes out is going to be completely unique to you, which means that people shouldn't even know that you have this email brain working for you in the background. How flipping cool is that? Then we've got some guidelines: understand the inquiry, leverage contextual emails, maintain tone consistency. And then also, guys, what I've said is given it some HTML formatting and specifics. I've said that it needs to be no other information except for the text, making your job easier. And what else is really cool here? Finish the email with the below HTML signature. You can build that on HubSpot if you want to, or you could actually work with ChatGPT, meaning that the bottom signature is the same on every email that you get. How flipping cool is that? And once you've done that, it's pretty much ready to rock and roll and go. And the model I've used is GPT-4 system, and then we click OK. So I'm here, for example. Now let's just add this one in real quick. Create a completion, bada bing, bada boom. This is beautiful. All right, model, let's go for GPT-4 system. Max token 0. Here's a message. Role is going to be user. Text content is going to be this, which is pretty sweet. And all we do, guys, is just simply update all this stuff. So who's it from and the name, all that sort of stuff. So let's go for from address and from name. So let's go down here. Let's see where we got this information. Once we're done, we give it the relevant information for context, which is simply going to be the value from the iterator, which is flipping ace. And we're going to come down. We've got everything else we need. Then, guys, we simply click OK. We're going to rename this one email brain, of course, because it is our beautiful email brain. And let's get a big, beautiful brain there. Phenomenal. Next thing we're going to do, guys, is click next, and then we're going to do Gmail. Now, what's really cool, I want you to create a draft. Now, you can send this automatically if you want to, but draft's going to be good one to get started. The recipient. This is where it gets really, really cool. The recipient, now this is going to address it to, and obviously pick the folder that you want. You could put it in draft, you could put it in AI brain folder, whatever takes your fancy, is we're going to address it to the person that sent you the email. So you're going to come down and let's see who the email was from. So just put the email address in there and you're done. Subject. Again, come down, find the subject of what it was. AI automations with Jack. Phenomenal. Then the content, guys, is quite simply the result from the email brain like that. And literally, that is the entire automation. So what I propose we do, we click OK. We're going to run the scenario. I'm going to send it an email asking it a question. I'm going to see exactly what the draft looks like. So I come back over. I've just asked it a question. I've just said, hey, how much do you charge for a sponsored video? I run the scenario. I come down. We're watching for emails to come in. This is going to pick up the last email that I sent. Now, guys, there's ways that we can take this from here to here. We could add an attachment. So the very first scenario, what that would do, and look at this, guys, it's just rocketed through, giving us the email brain, and now it's going to create a draft for us. In the first scenario, guys, what I could do is you can see, we can tell when we get attachments. So we can grab all attachments now, read the attachments, understand the attachments. What else can we do? We can add perplexity search. So what I can also do is add an AI search engine. And let's say your domain is, I don't know, coolbluebottles.com. I can then search for that company, get context and information about that company, and add it to this Google document. And I just say, hey, FYI, this is some information. In fact, an even better place to do it would be here, where it gets information and we just add it to the email brain. So we add internet search here and add that in as well, which says, hey, here's some information about the company, which means that when people email you, not only do you have the context about who they are and what they've said, on top of that, we're also getting internet search to make sure you've got it. So if a scammer's reaching out and saying, hey, dude, I want to sponsor a video, we'd know exactly who they are and what the hell is going on, which means you could say, look, they've said this, oh, but some information from blah, blah, blah says that they may not be a good source. How cool. So you can see, you can take this in millions of things. We can also connect it with your calendar. I mean, like, I'm trying to get ahead of myself. I just want to put that as proof of concept to see if you guys want that kind of content. And if you do, then we'll just simply smash it. And guys, one very quick amendment. I just want to make sure that you're using array metadata content rather than the metadata, because there's a couple of ones that come through on that. So let me just come through and update this to make sure we get the right things. All right, cool. This is why it's always really good to run through and make sure we got all the bits and pieces. So I'm just going to number these real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, 6, and then we should be ready to go. And guys, I've just come over to this email here. Check this out. It's titled the same thing. Hey Jack, thanks for reaching out. I charge $3,000 for a sponsored video within 60 to 90 second integration. Why is that so cool? Because in my last fake reply that I did, I can even show you in the emails we had here. I think it was email 2, wasn't it? Was it email 2 I had this? Guys, look. My current sponsorship rate is $3,000 for a 60 to 90 second integration. I come here. It's the exact same thing. So it's read the email, pull what's relevant and reply to it. And also add this nice little tasty thing at the bottom. We probably need to get rid of those little dots, but apart from that, How flipping incredible. This actually is my favorite automation so far. Guys, I really hope you found this video interesting and you can see the potential whether you want to sell this to companies, because who the hell would not want this? Like, I'm going to be using this all the time, but you won't know it's me. Well, if you watch this video, you'll know, but otherwise you won't. But in any case, guys, I hope you found the video helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one.